Hello! And welcome to what I call a new video.
We've gotta make a fountain.
Now, if I've understood the prophecy correctly, all I gotta do is take a knife out, have some determination in me, and strike the earth. Or something along those lines. Not really sure. But, you know, the prophecy says something, I wanna do it.
I did it! Hey, let's go!
So yeah, in this video I'm gonna go ahead and just show you around my room while talking to you about how that's gonna be in the dark world, while showing you pictures of said dark world. So I wanna begin over here on my goddamn table, because my table is my precious. And we're gonna go ahead and start with the pencil case. Why do we start with the pencil case? Cause the pencil case is actually one of the oldest things I own. I have had this pencil case since 5th grade, and I am absolutely not giving it up for any damn reason. The things inside of it are also from 5th grade, so you can imagine they don't work no more. So when adapting that into a dark world design, I was thinking to myself, well, the pencil case is very old, and the things that are inside of the pencil case are not working anymore. So I imagined a shopkeeper, or you know, a weapons stash, an old man on a weapons stash. And this is what it looks like. The green accents are mostly because of the green parts of the pencil case, of course. And I also gave him a little bit of a fur coat thingy, because I always rest my microphone like mufflers on top of it, as you can see. And I thought, hey, if they're always on top of there, you know, they might as well be around his neck. So this is my design, my first design for the dark world. You'll have to see it. If we go ahead and zoom out just a little bit, you can see that it's actually a microphone right here. And that is the main microphone I used to use before I did the whiteboard videos. Actually, as I was doing the whiteboard videos, I just recently switched to new microphones. So, naturally, I imagined some sort of businessman, because, you know, kind of my microphone is my business partner in making this YouTube channel. So, that's why I gave him a goddamn suitcase, a suit. The reason, by the way, that the suit has the color that it has is because this little light inside of the microphone. I thought it was a nice detail, so I pointed it out to you, which you do love to see if I do say so myself. And because the microphone is always in front of the, you know, portable microphone, I kind of envisioned that, like, the microphone was protecting the other microphones, and like they're the kids or something. And so I decided that inside of the briefcase are his children, which are the new microphones. And yes, there's 2 microphones in there, but I only ever use one because I only need one. You love to see it. And if we go ahead and look a little to the left, we see this figurine. The figurine that I made in, I believe it was 6th or 7th grade in our workshop class. Now, if you don't know the lore, I actually made this as a combination of 2 projects. First, we had the project about making a wooden knife. So I made the wooden knife, and after that we had a project about making a figurine. And so I asked my teacher, can I please put those 2 projects together? And the teacher agreed and thought it was, you know, very clever, and I got like my first ever A. And so naturally it still rests upon my table to this very day. Now when it comes to the design philosophy on this entire thing, I just, you know, basically copied it, but the hair is like very different, because I'm gonna be honest, the way I thought about having hair, and you know, when I made the character design, was just like, I'm gonna make the most generic guy of all time and give him an eye patch, and that's gonna be awesome. But like, now I actually know how to do character design a little bit better. I'm not saying I'm very good at it, but you know, I know how to do it a little bit better. So I actually gave him some sort of interesting hair, which he didn't have in the original design. I also didn't exactly know what this glove was meant to be, and so I just kind of figured it was the kind of glove where the fingers, you know, go out at the end. I also redesigned the knife, the wooden knife, to be a sword instead, and also I redesigned the hilt to not be bigger than the actual knife part, and it instead be, you know, a cloud stripe kind of sword. I think that makes the most sense. I also redesigned the jacket to be in, like, not a jacket and instead be a hoodie, more, you know, that instead of what it's supposed to be, which is a suit jacket. You know, I used the Sans kind of jacket in this design instead, which is, you know, that I'm gonna be absolutely honest, this is the design I changed the most when I literally just had to copy it. But, you know, I like how it turned out. I like how he looks down at you. I like how it is, yay, POG champion, as some may say. And now, I'm gonna be absolutely honest. It was at this point that I realized that all of the people that I drew are men. So then I looked around my room to, like, think of a design that I could turn into a woman. And, Then I thought to myself, well, maybe I can turn my keyboard into a woman. And then I thought about the prospects of turning something that is touched by a man 24/7 into a woman. And I thought that wasn't a very good idea. So I don't actually have a keyboard design. But, you know, it's fine. So I turned over to my Switch. And I was thinking about the time that Nintendo decided to just entirely annihilate all of the piracy sites, which definitely was just the FBI doing it. Absolutely. Definitely. 100% not paid off by Nintendo. Anyways, I was a little mad about that, and so I decided to turn the Nintendo Switch into a big-breasted woman. Which you have, you know, the option to skip over right now, which is why I'm giving you this time. Anyways, here's the big... Why'd I do that? I don't know why I did it. The fucking face. I'm gonna get cancelled. Not gonna lie, this is the funniest shit I've ever drawn. Anyway, after doing that, I went ahead and decided to look on my table for one last time. See, I looked over to my right instead, and then I realized there was this entire place of just Amiibo and Godot's carbon mask. So I was thinking to myself, well, I could do a drawing where all of those guys sit like at a bar or something, you know, drinking cups of coffee and stuff. But then I thought it was a way cuter idea to have a very small Isabelle just sit on top of Godot's shoulder. If you don't know, the mask is from a hit video game Ace Attorney, also known as a funny lawyer game. Especially a character called Prosecutor Godot. And so that is Prosecutor Godot, and that is Isabelle on Prosecutor Godot's shoulder. Is Isabelle actually that small? No. But I thought it was cute, so I drew it. You know, sometimes we really don't need like big, like questionable things. Sometimes it's just cute, and so I drew it. Now then I looked on my table, but then I kind of realized that I can't really draw anything more because I did have this idea of using one of the like game racks that I have on my table and then do like a funny scene with it. Like imagine the Worms from Worms, a Crusader, a Rayman, and Iron Man playing Civ 6. I feel like that's really funny, but I don't have the skills to actually draw that. So just imagine it in your mind. And the other rack, I didn't really have any idea of the other rack. There aren't any like characters I can really draw there except like a Mohun and Connor from Detroit Become Human. But like, I really can't draw anything from that, so I don't really have an idea on how to visualize that. But I'm pretty sure all of the people in those games are friends now. But now it's time for the Land of the Forgotten, also known as the space below my window. Now you may be at a first glance be able to tell that there is a lot of weird things there. And yes, that is the hair of Prosecutor Godot. Don't question me. But when looking through this place, I actually, you know, realized a bunch of things. And that is that I have a bunch of stuff that is kind of forgotten and discarded on this shelf right here. So you may call it like a kingdom of the forgotten. There are multiple markers that I will continue to use on the whiteboard, but that haven't been used yet, so maybe we can have like a little civilization where just one guy goes like every couple of weeks and never returns because I'll use them up. Then we have the Bluetooth headphones that I stopped using a long time ago because the Bluetooth headphones are horribly delayed, I have to be honest. Then we have the gray Switch controllers that are just there and I don't use because I don't need to, because I have the colored ones and they are way more fancy. I think you can do a little bit of a story there where, you know, even they feel discarded, they feel left out because they aren't as colorful, as pretty, quote unquote, as the big-breasted woman. so the story is about them accepting themselves as what they are and someone finding them beautiful the way they are. Maybe that's a story you can tell there. So that's gotta be awesome. But you may be able to tell that I'm not showing any pictures and that is because I didn't draw any of that, except for the main army, or the main royalty of this forgotten kingdom, as I've come to call it. Because, you know, in my mind, this is like the mid-chapter kingdom boss, where there is an army of the ginormous amount of batteries that I have on that display right there. And they directly serve under the 2 VR controllers, which I've designed right here. And I'm gonna be honest, I really like the fact that one of them is like silly and the other one is stern. Like, I did it with like intent, because like I'm right-handed, and I specifically made the left one, the left controller, the silly one, and the right-handed one, the stern one, just because that's kind of how it feels to play VR. But I've not played VR in a very long time, which is why they are in charge of the discarded kingdom. And I can imagine like the boss fight with the controllers being a little harder if you actively beat up all of the like little foot soldier batteries on the way to the boss fight, because if you beat them up, they're gonna be like mad at you and continuously heal and you know, give the controllers a new charge. But as soon as they are defeated, we get to the monarch of the land, which is the VR headset itself. And when looking at the VR headset as it's lying there on my counter, you know, I thought, hey, that is a lot of cable. A lot less cable than I eventually used for the actual design, but that's a lot of cable. So I was like, so a VR headset is a thing you put on your face. So making that into a person is a little difficult. So what if instead I just make the VR headset its own thing, but the wires are the thing representing the person? So I came up with this design of a monarch sitting on a throne, but the body is made of nothing but wires. The only thing that isn't wires is the VR headset itself, and that is, you know, just there. I really like the concept of the design. Not necessarily how I drew it, but I like the concept very much, if I do say so myself. It was at this moment that I was like, well, I've now gotten like a bunch of characters that are humanoid, but if I look at the average chapter, I see a bunch of shit that don't look too humanoid, I'm gonna be honest. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have the mental juices to actually come up with good designs that aren't humanoid. So I decided that now it is time to make a bunch of joke characters out of objects in this very room. And so I looked around and I started with my wallet. And see, the problem about my wallet is that it's empty, which is unlucky. And so I decided, hey, it would probably be a funny joke that if you just, you know, walk through a corridor randomly in the dark world, you can just find like a wallet, shot, bleeding profusely. My wallet's dead. I'm broke. Join memberships now. Anyway, I then went ahead and looked around my room just a little more and found my stick. You know, he loves to see it. The stick is just the goat. I didn't have a design, so I gave him googly eyes and a mouth that is literally just a line. I am a design god. It's great. It's awesome. I don't know why people think I suck at drawing. And now for the next one, I do actually need to explain what I think the main boss is gonna be. So I think the main boss of the chapter is gonna be my PC, because it's literally my goal. You know, my PC been with me for a very long time. And I thought to myself, well, a PC that is in charge of all these lands would probably have a spy or two. So I looked towards my green screen, and as you may be able to tell, my green screen, you can very much just, you know, put it in the ground so that only the black part is, you know, seeable, but you can also pull it back out so that there's green. And because of the fact that the green screen is only usable if you use it on a PC, where you get rid of the green background to hide the background, I thought, hey, I'm gonna make the green screen into a covert operative who can go into the floor, be invisible, you know, see-through. However, the black part at the top is a hat, and that will always be visible. So throughout the chapter, you'll just be able to randomly find a top hat, literally anywhere on the floor, and that basically tells you that you are at the current moment being watched by the gloopy green screen, Why did I make the green screen gloopy? Because I thought it was funny, and it's kind of a shitpost. And also, why is the hat bad? Because I suck at drawing, have you considered? And now there's only 2 designs left, and one of them, I gotta say, that's the secret boss. And what is the secret boss gonna be, you ask me? Is the whiteboard. That's right. Why is the whiteboard the secret boss? Well, cause the whiteboard kinda wanna be the main character. You know, the whiteboard has been the main character for my channel now for like over half a year at this point. And so naturally, he is he's one hungry motherfucker when it comes to getting attention. However, the views have been going down. And so naturally, he has been having a mental crisis. And so I designed him like this. Now let's start off the top. See, the head, it's literally me. I mean, it's not me, but it's me, but it's hot, you know? Now the reason I'm, made the face look like mine, gave them the same colored eyes, gave them the same beard, kind of, but like, better and doesn't actually look like ass, is because I didn't actually have a design for the whiteboard that didn't look way too fucking goofy to be a secret boss. So instead, basically made it so that this is a representation of me, but the whiteboard. I changed up the hair a ton from this because, frankly, my hair is just kinda fluffy, and that don't look too good. But if I do it like that, like I did in the drawing, there's actually some sort of, dynamic hair to it. I then went ahead and gave him a red coat. The reason I did that is because my main coloration is red. Now, while I always wear a red shirt, since this is the whiteboard, a showman, and, wishes to be as outgoing and presentation as possible, that I went ahead and just gave him a red coat instead. Re-establishing the link between me and the whiteboard, but also, getting it to be its own design. Then I went ahead and after the head made the entire body just white. The reason I did that is because I wanted this to be the whiteboard, and that's why I also wrote a bunch of references to past videos on top of that. The references here include Gerson, I love Censorcide, I hate Chara, that's the RA right there, Ralsei is a bit, and the 2 Hear Me Out videos. And yes, of course I put the Hear Me Out as close as I could to the crotch area. Looking at its left hand, I went ahead and made one of its fingers a marker. Now the reason I did that is because I always stand to the left of the whiteboard, so naturally I always paint from the left when it comes to the marker. And the marker currently is sitting on the whiteboard on the left hand side. So I thought, hey, wouldn't it be a nice idea to make the entire finger just, a writing thing so that it is implied that all of the references were drawn by the whiteboard itself. And when it comes to the down portion, I didn't really think about it much. I just needed pants. And so I gave the pants. Technically, those are supposed to be, white because the down part is white, but like, I don't care. This looks better. And so it's time for the main boss. And that is, of course, my PC. And as you may be able to tell, my PC has a lot of red lights. And that is by design. Red is my favorite color, as you may have been able to tell by the fact that I always wear red if it's not in the wash. And so, naturally, when I designed this, I designed it at the very end of my whole designing part of this video. I thought to myself, well, I already objectified a woman, so it's time to objectify a man too. I'm all about equality. I will equally sexually harass everyone. I can't say these things. I will say these things. Nothing will stop me. Just look at the design, damn! So this is my most complicated drawing of all time, I have to say, because Jesus Christ, all of the details that I had to draw in there, or that I chose to draw in there because I'm a fucking idiot, it was a pain, especially below the neck part. Like, why did I decide to do all that? But regardless, the main coloration of this is red, but it's understandable because all of the lights inside are red. That's also why all of the air pumps that just leave out like a bunch of steam is what I presume they would do, is also red, because it's just kind of all to reference the fact that the inside of my PC is entirely with red lights. The face literally just supposed to be mechanical. That's why it shares a design philosophy with the controllers of the VR thing, which I didn't realize while I was drawing it, but then realized afterwards, and I felt stupid. Though I must say, the little line that goes across the face and stops at the eyebrow and then continues below the eye, I very much like it. It has been done to death by every single piece of media, but I will do it to death too, and no one can stop me. Because it looks fucking sick. Now if we scroll a little down and ignore the pecs that are so big that a piece of armor needs to be remodeled to also include the pecs. We can see that on the chest plate we have two symbols. Now let's start with the left one. The left one is a shield. And the reason I made that one a shield is because I started with the right one and I had a way better reason, but I also needed something on the upper chest plate. So this one is mainly there because I was looking at how it looks inside of my PC, and it kind of looked like it was forming a ray. The red light was forming a ray, a shielding ray for anyone to go in. Which is the only reason I put that in there. Now let's go to the side I put more effort in, and that is of course the 4. The 4 is literally just there to say that this is the 4th PC I've ever owned in my entire life. Literally nothing else. I am a genius when it comes to design. I know you can tell. Then we have everything below the armor, which I explicitly gave this metallic steel, you know, color to it. It's not only under the chestplate armor and the, you know, shoulder armor, it's also the mechanical parts of the arms, which I think on the right side came out very good, on the left side didn't. Hey. They are also in the, below, you know, the head part, on the neck part, as some may call it. And I frankly very much like the coloration of the entire piece, and I like the design very much. Now I must say the heads are a little unexpressive and a little kinda bad, not gonna lie, but it's fine, I think. You know, personally speaking, I think it is very fine, and it works for what I set out to do. And especially that hourglass figure, like, those legs! Damn! Anyway, what about... Anyway. So yeah, that was generally the vibe I was going for, and that was the entirety of my room, well, most of my room, darknerized. I hope that this inspires you to make your own room like a Dark World, because like, I want to see a lot of people do this. It was a lot of fun to do, although it was a little bit, you know, draining. I did do it, I ended up doing all of the designs and all of the things in like 2 days. So it doesn't take that long, so I can highly recommend it, if I do say so myself. So yeah, have fun doing that if you choose to do it. My fit went absolutely hard for the 2 seconds it was on screen at the beginning of the video. Cue the clown.